Welcome to our channel. I am The Educated Idiot. Today we're going to explore the top 10 tools that all new beginner techs entering into a dealership or a secondary market repair shop needs to get started. When I start working with a new technician, I recommend starting with what they're going to do on a daily basis, and that's going to be oil changes, tire rotations, and inspections. Starting with the oil change, I recommend we're going to get into the oil filters first. We have two main ways to get the oil filter off, and it's going to be wrenches as well as sockets for the cartridge styles. Now, the cartridge style filters require a socket to pull them apart, which does require an extension and a ratchet as well. We'll get into those here in a minute. Draining the oil requires a way to get the drain plug out of the oil pan. I recommend using a set of static wrenches. The reason we call these static wrenches is simply because there is no mechanism in here to ratchet, or they're also called a set of combination wrenches, boxed on one end and open on the other. The set here in this tray is a set I bought from the beginning, and I've had it for over 20 years. The set to the right is a little larger set, the wrenches are a little bit longer, and then the sizes are a little bit bigger. My go-to wrench is generally going to be this wrench here. It is going to be a little longer than your standard combination wrench, gives you a little more leverage, and it's easier to get that drain plug out. Next, we're going to look at getting the wheels off. To do that, we're going to need a 1/2-inch impact and a set of sockets. The 1/2-inch impact, the new thing, is going to the electric. These are amazing if you do not have an air compressor. They are portable, rechargeable, and fairly easy to get around, and the new brushless ones are incredibly powerful. But when you're working on a daily basis and you're having to lift this thing, it weighs a ton compared to the air versions. That's why I recommend, as new technicians, going with an air version. This is the standard sized 1/2-inch impact from Matco, but if you're looking for price, this is the Ingersoll Rand. Still a quality unit, doesn't have quite the power as the Matco, but it is affordable. It's got push buttons on the back, and it's going to be reliable for a daily basis use. If you even want to go smaller and more compact, there are stubby versions out there on the market. To go with those 1/2-inch impacts, we need a way to get the lug nuts off. What I generally recommend starting with is a set of flip sockets that are going to be 4 sockets in 2. Comes with a 3/8 extension. You simply slide it in one end. If that's not the size you need, you flip it over. This particular set comes in 19/21 on one socket and 3/4 and 15/16 on the other. Previous years, that was more than enough to take off any wheel that was out there. Well, with the advent of different vehicles, they've put on different size lug nuts, 17, 18, 22 millimeter. There are going to be other sockets that are needed as well. Next part of the oil change is going to be the inspection. A lot of places are going to have you check brake rotors, pads, fluids, as well as any major components that are damaged. Starting that inspection, you're going to need a way to see. I recommend Streamlight flashlights. All of these are available not only via Amazon, but also your tool trucks as well. Streamlight has an amazing warranty process. A lot of them are 5-year warranties, no questions asked. You simply send in the unit, they either replace or repair and send it back to you. When you get into some of the bigger ones, like we see here, this is an 810 lumen. It is extremely bright and it is an amazing flashlight, but it's not the best for doing inspections. When you get into the smaller Streamlights, this is a little more reliable on light. You don't get a lot of reflection back into your face. But what I recommend for inspection is just simply a pen light. This is a Stylus Pro and it's a rechargeable version. Fits in your pocket and it's easy to utilize and see things on the vehicle. Also available is the floodlight from Streamlight. This is their new Cyclone and it is extremely bright. Great for putting underneath the hood while you're working on it so you can see the cartridge filters, or if you're working on braking components, you can put it inside the fender wells. When you're doing your inspections, you need to inspect those brake pads and measure them in one way or another. This is the recommendation that most places go with. This is what is referred to as a go or no-go gauge, or a brake pad gauge. The green is good, the yellow is marginal, the red is replace, and they are sized accordingly from 12 millimeter all the way down to 2 millimeter. When the inevitable happens, I also recommend having a set of these. They come in two different sizes. This is going to be a wheel stud installer. And what this is a conical shape on this end that the lug nut sits on, and a flat bearing on the back. When you're pressing those wheel studs in, this is actually going to rotate and not put any undue stress on the actual stud itself. I understand some technicians out there still stack washers, but for the price of them and the knowledge that you have installed them properly, it is well worth the dollar spent. During the inspection, we also look at the tires, not only the size and depth of the tires, but also the air inside the tires. I recommend going with a quality tire inflator. The digital is my preference simply because it's easier to read out and it's more accurate. If you ever have an issue, you simply change the batteries, and that's going to fix most of the internal issues this one has. We also own it in a dial version, and the more historic way to do it is simply with a tire inflator and a gauge as well. Unfortunately, it does require two tools, both easily lost. This is a little larger and it's easier to utilize. One thing we've not talked about yet is how to get those splash guards and those mud guards off of the bottom of vehicles to do the oil changes. What we're going to utilize for those is a set of bits or an impact driver or a drill. Now these can come in a set from Milwaukee. You get the drill and the impact driver, 2 batteries, and a charger. I recommend using the impact driver because it does have a hammering mechanism. It is a little more versatile and easier to use with a quick change 1/4 inch adapter on it, which is going to fit all of these bits. These bits are going to be in a set of 34. You're going to have everything from your screwdriver bits and your long, as well as your torque bits in medium, short. You also have your adapters for your sockets as well. When looking at general purpose work on automobiles, I recommend getting a quality set of screwdrivers. Now this is a set that is made by Matco and made for Matco by a company called Witte, W-E-I-T-T-E. It is a German branded company. The reason I like Matco over some of the other brands out there is the handle design as well as the warranty process. The handle design is more of a triangle with bulges, and it fits my particular hand better. It feels better when I'm utilizing it. The second part of why I like it is because Matco actually replaces the entire unit opposed to replacing just the shank like some of the competition that's out there. The next thing is going to be your best friend. Ask the other guys in the shop why they have one of these, a tech screwdriver, in their pocket at all times, because it can be utilized for multiple different things. It's an amazing piece and one thing that you definitely need to add to your pocket while you're working. Moving on to what is also needed as a beginner technician is some of what's on the current table. Starting with the most popular is going to be a set of sockets. I generally recommend going with a set of 3/8 socket because they're going to be the most universal. The metric set is going to go from 8mm. In this case, it's going to go up to 19. This particular set here comes in a master kit, or what's known as a complete kit. So it's going to have your metric deep and shallow, as well as your standard deep and shallow. A few adapters are going to come with it as well. The adapters generally needed is going to be a set of extensions. Here's the set of extensions ranging in size. Your most common are going to be your 3, 6, and then your 18-inch extensions as well. There's a wide variety of extensions that are out there for not only 1/2 inch, 3/8, as well as 1/4, but even adapters to go from one size to another. Looking at the ratchets that we have on the table, let's focus on this section here. This is going to be the 3/8 drive section that I currently own. This is going to range from anything from the 18-inch locking flex head all the way down to a 3-inch stubby. But if we're looking at one particular ratchet that we're going to have in our box as a beginner set, which I would recommend, is the 12-inch locking flex head. Whether it be in the standard chrome grip or the comfort grip, this is the one to go with. This particular one has a locking function on the head. You simply lock it into place and it stays in that position. Lifetime warranty on all of these tools that are available from a tool store. You simply break a head or you strip out a gear set, you bring it into your distributor and he replaces the unit or he replaces the internals for you. 1/2 inch ratchet is going to be the next thing. Inevitably, we're going to have customers that ask us not to utilize air impacts when removing their lug nuts, simply because they're protective of their vehicle or they have aftermarket wheels on there that they don't want scratched up. So the general recommendation is to go with a long half-inch drive ratchet. This particular one, I believe, is 28 inches long. They come as long as 36 inches long from some of the companies out there. You can use the same sockets that we utilized on the air impacts to get the wheels off. This is just a small, safer way to get it done. Some people have this particular one in their box, and now this is an older, smaller one. When getting off the torque lug nuts down, this probably will not do the job unless you're built like an ox. So go with something that's going to make your job a little easier and do the extended version. A quality set of hammers is going to be next, and that is going to be these three here. This is going to be a 32 ounce, a small dead blow, as well as a 5-pound hammer. Now, this is going to be the most common one that you're going to utilize in a daily atmosphere. And the reason for that is because corrosion. Corrosion is going to get the wheel stuck onto the rotor base. Hit the tire itself and not the wheel. This will dislodge it and make sure you have one of those lug nuts still on there so it doesn't go flying across the shop and take out another car or another technician. Finally, we're going to look at plier sets. Now, a lot of different companies produce a 4-piece plier set. It is going to be your needle nose, your locking jaws, your snips, as well as a standard set of slide pliers. I personally utilize more of the Knipex. These are German made, and they are going to be an amazing set. A lot of your lifetime warranty is only due to breaking, but in the Knipex world, this is going to be from general use. In Knipex design, in their warranty process, it simply states if it does not do what it did new, it is covered under warranty. So these teeth in here, if you manage to dull those, they will replace it for that as well.